Hello and welcome to the Mysticast, where you join me, Jack Stafford, member of the Aetherius Society, the cosmic religion for the Aquarian Age, as we break down the barriers between religion, science, metaphysics, philosophy, and mysticism, all of which are really only aspects of the self-same quest for truth. Please note this is an independent program, not produced or fact-checked by the Aetherius Society. Today, my guest is Mark Christopher Lee. Hello, Mark. How you doing?
Hello, Jack. Thank you for having me on.
It's great to have you, a fellow musician.
Indeed, yeah. Yeah.
I've heard of you long before I'll get onto your interest in our fellow interest in aliens.
Yeah.
And you're really doing well with the music, mate.
Yeah, well, it's perseverance. I've been doing the same band, the Pocket Gods, for 25 years. It's our 25th anniversary this year. And it's only in the last 2 to 3 years that the last 2 years I've gone full time, basically. It's taken me that long to get to the stage in my life where I can make some sort of living out of it. I've got 3 children and a wife as well. So I have managed to do that, which I'm very, very grateful for. But I just followed my quest. My wife believed in it as well, believes in me. And it's been a great journey. And even yesterday, we had some good news because the Deezer and Universal Music have signed a deal about fairer payments for artists. This is something that I've been campaigning for a long time with Pocket Gods, for better royalties from streaming services. And so it was a really positive news yesterday that, things are starting to change. That's really good.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think where I've first heard of you, and it was probably the 1,000 album song.
No. That's the maddest idea I've had. It was hard doing the actual music. A lot of them are repetitive, I give you that. But there are 1,000 songs, each one 30 seconds long. The reason 30 seconds is Spotify and other companies pay out a royalty up to 30 seconds. So I thought, well, they don't pay you very much, so why write longer songs? That was the principle behind it. And by putting 1,000 on an album, it just made a massive statement. But I enjoyed doing it, but it was difficult. And the difficult thing was I didn't know whether the technology could cope with it because no one had done it before. So I sent it all to my distributor, press send, and the system crashed. I had to keep doing it. And luckily, it did get through, but it's pushing the limits of today's technology.
Wow. Well, maybe you came to that. I like to think people come to it from an altruistic angle, no, because you were worried about all the musicians just our income going down the toilet.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, I mean, that album, 1,000 Songs, was done to raise awareness. It's done great. It's done 1.5 million streams, but I haven't made any money from Spotify. I made about £300 on that. So I wasn't doing
Really? Why?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? So
is that legal? Is that still?
Yeah. I mean, that's the way royalties are calculated is complicated. But if you get, like, we have more fans in obscure parts of the world, like Indonesia and places like in the Far East, they pay a lot less royalties. So you're talking. So yeah.
So it's per location as well.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But what other idea you had? What was the next idea after that one? Because you also had the million.
Well, the £1 million album.
But that's the newest idea. You had one between them. You had one.
Did I?
I think you've been a constant stream of ideas. I keep getting press releases about you guys, and you're doing different things.
Yeah, it's mostly been about the streaming, to be fair. But yeah, we did the £1 million album was the last kind of biggish one, where there's just one copy of this vinyl album on sale in our local record shop. It seemed like a good way to kind of close the campaign. So I'm not doing 30-second songs anymore. And this is a good way to close the campaign. And if we sold the album, hopefully we will still do that. I will use those funds, that £1 million, to start our own ethical streaming service where we're guaranteed to pay artists at least one penny per stream, which doesn't sound very much, but it's like 50 times Spotify's current rate.
Yeah, day and night, that is, yeah.
So that's the plan, and it's still for sale now. But I do have a new musical thing, which is kind of related to this. I can talk about later if you want to.
Yeah, give me, because I have another podcast called Pod Songs. I don't know if you got a chance to check that out. I know you're very busy.
I did, yeah. Good.
So I came from that because I was in lockdown, in Italy, nowhere to go, nothing to do. So, I write songs about people I meet. Let's write songs about, when interviewing people. I wanted to do my own podcast. Let me write a song about everyone I have on.
Yeah.
And so I'm up to 100, coming up to 150. Now we've got guest musicians coming on, because after 100 songs of just me, it was a bit much. So now it's guest musicians interviewing their idols. And that's really
good idea.
Also coming from that altruistic angle. And it's beautiful to have these people in this. It's like fans interviewing their idols, their favorite author, or they just happen to be musicians. But there's real electricity in the room.
Excellent.
Yeah. If you'd be up for that, coming on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Please.
Oh, wow. Great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. We'll chat about it after the interview then.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about our shared interest in extraterrestrial life.
Mm-hmm.
This not being the only populated planet, as most people. I think more people believe in aliens now than God. Is that a proven statistic?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. Yeah. It's, I first kind of questioned things, opened my mind a little bit. There's a TV series in the UK in the 70s called Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World. And you're probably too young to remember it, but it was a seminal program. And Arthur C. Clarke wrote 2001: Space Odyssey, science fiction writer, but also a scientist, invented the communication satellite. So he came at looking at all kind of unexplained phenomena with an open mind, but a scientific one as well. And that's when I first kind of heard about UFOs. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. And I always felt some sort of connection to the cosmos. It sounds a bit hippie, but I've always had that. And I had my own experience as a child, which at the time I put down to being a paranormal experience. But I don't know whether it could have been some sort of UFO alien encounter. I was about 4 years old, and a space appeared glowing on the wall. It kind of opened a portal, and it gave me a message that everything would be all right. The next day, I won't go into the details, everything wasn't all right. My childhood was pretty messed up. And that kind of got me through. There was something higher than me that was kind of guiding me. I guess that sounds a bit strange. So that was an encounter that I had at the time. Kind of put it down as being a ghost thing, but now with fresh eyes, I don't know. Definitely happened. I've talked about it a little bit on other interviews, but I've always been fascinated about there being life elsewhere. And I think, like you said, more people now believe in this than ever. And with the current events in the US and the Congress and the hearings, I'm interested to see where that goes, whether the truth is being controlled or not. I don't know. It's political things. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think they wouldn't be doing it if there wasn't, there are hands behind the scenes now. There are all puppets, so it wouldn't be, would they have a strategy for something else, I think, because we're told in our teachings that it goes through a phase, first they deny it, the silence group, and then they say they're unfriendly. So they're...
That's the way it seems to be framed at the moment, that the US military wants to see them as a threat. It's that way. I guess they can control the agenda a little bit and ramp up the fear with the population, I guess. It's generally what governments do. So yeah, this film that I did is called God versus Aliens. And it's a documentary just exploring what evidence there is that we've been visited before, going through some ancient religious texts. Then also interviewing people now that think we are being visited. And then, a few kind of more skeptical people as well. But looking at the impact that it would have on society and religion as a whole. I come in it from a mainly Christian background. Mm-hmm. I'm very kind of open-minded. I'm not dogmatic or evangelical. My good friend, who's also a Church of England minister, he speaks in the interview, and he's similar to me as well. He's very open-minded about it. He thinks there is life out there, and it's all part of the same. And he thinks God is the creator of everything. So, I mean, I've been looking more into the Aetherius Society and what you believe, and that seems more of a kind of this quite a large spiritual element to this.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
for sure. Because when you read the Bible with open eyes, it's full of UFOs. Star of Bethlehem,
It's interesting
clouds.
because you mentioned on the page that you sent me about the flying scroll. I've actually got that in the film about the flying scroll, because that's just weird, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
that's like,
Did you look at the Bhagavad Gita and
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
full of so what the president of the society had a funny comment that because everyone's obsessed by the chariot, the car, the vehicles now. It's like, forget all of Krishna's teachings. What kind of car did he drive? What kind of chariot? Because what people don't realize is the people driving these UFOs are super spiritual, elevated God men to us. They just like they have a greater belief in God than we do. They're very spiritual.
But these are what we would say are extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I mean, that's kind of where I've ended up in my looking into the UFO phenomena. And like mine was first open to the perhaps not just being a physical element to them, but maybe a spiritual, psychic element. Was John Keel, the ufologist from the 50s. I don't know if you know him.
No.
He was in the 1950s, John Keel, and he came up with the ultra-terrestrial theory. But he was saying that there's more to UFOs than them being physical craft, and there's some psychic element to it, possibly spiritual, and sometimes there is a malevolent element to it as well. I mean, how does that fit in with what you think? Is there good and evil out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge universe, and as above, as below, as in the microcosm on this planet, when we die, we go to a different realm, and we have lower realms, and in the lower realms, each chakra is a realm of consciousness, just right here, and you go to a different frequency. We have 7 bodies, and you just vibrate at a different frequency, and so on this, there are dark forces on this world in the lower astral realms. And in the universe also there are also, but on the whole, and especially in our solar system, where they're very good. And the vast majority is far ahead, because it's all about karma. Karma is everything. It's like it's from the scripts, and it's also in the teachings of the Aetherius Society. So you can't, everything's has a karmic balance, and you can only be so bad. You can only run. Like that Marilyn Manson song, you can run on for a long time, but sooner or later, God will cut you down. And you can, what's darker than dark will be brought to the light. Right. So that's really true. And so we're under a huge karmic debt because we chose free will over freedom within the law of karma. So sometime in our history,
So was that a choice? So when was that choice made?
Well, that choice was made on Maldek, which is now the asteroid belt. We destroyed that planet. So if you look at the distance to the planets from the sun.
Oh, yeah. No, there's a big gap, yeah.
There's a huge gap, and that was Maldek, and we destroyed that. We probed the atom there, and we did it in the days of Lemurius and then Atlantis, in the ancient texts of the Ramayana, the Indra's dart, the Brahma weapon. It's all about nuclear, because history rhymes, history repeats, and we're doing it again. So,
okay, so is human civilization basically extraterrestrial in origin?
Well, yes, if you would say that in essence, yeah. Now we came from another world, but not in the sense that because the Earth is a spaceship, but it's a living being. Eventually we evolve into planets according to the teachings. So, because consciousness accumulates on its way back to God. So we are individual life streams. We are divine sparks of God, but you have to grow into bigger and bigger entities, into planets, and merge into suns, and the galaxy is a living, breathing entity. So it's this kind of accumulative aspect. I don't know whether it goes below, how many plants it takes to make an insect, how many insects to make an animal, how many to make a mammal, if it's like, because we're told we're 1 million trillion years old, something like that. So we have all, but I think that's if you add up all our life streams, all our life experiences, because consciousness accumulates like because we're all one consciousness, but we are individual as well. So,
what is the other mystery that I'm investigating at the moment, which is interesting? You mentioned about consciousness. Well, because my next film is trying to tie together UFOs, consciousness, paranormal, and are they all linked? You don't say intrinsically they are, I guess. Yeah. But there's still a mystery that science, today science can't explain consciousness, still can't. It's more and more evidence now that it is out there. It's not located in the brain. And that fascinates me, really. I mean, on just how it works and how people can tap into it, really, to benefit themselves. Do you think that's possible?
Well, I think we exist in a sea of mind, like everything is mind. And consciousness is mind slowed down. So our chakras slow down the speed of, because the speed of mind is 4 million times the speed of light. And so it's very fast. But our chakras slow it down. So as you raise your consciousness through each chakra, so consciousness, that's why someone that's consciousness is lower and some people are higher conscious. That's what it means. You're accessing higher mind, but mind is everywhere. So.
Okay. And I'm trying to use this in a positive way to help just ordinary people, have not got much interest in chakras. How can they, raise their consciousness? How can they do that? Is it through meditation or is it?
Yeah, prayer, mantra, pranayama. Those are probably the three main ways. Yeah. Service to others is the big. You shouldn't. If the neighbor needs a help, you shouldn't sit there doing pranayama. You should. It's service to others. Karma yoga, which is the.
Yeah, so I really like that aspect. So, I'm trying to raise my kids like that. So, it's important to also to be grateful for what you do have, which is why I express gratitude every day that I'm able to do music and creative things, because I know, it's, I feel blessed, literally.
Yeah.
But then I want to use this, this talent, these gifts, whatever, for the benefit of others, not just my own material gain. Which I admit I've got to do a little bit of that because I have family to, I'm not into flashcards or anything like that. It's more, how you can serve.
Yeah.
Because I was watching something by Deepak Chopra. He's very much like that as well, where, giving service, you kind of adding value to the world.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there are many ways to serve. And, all the great masters came to serve, and Jesus, is a great example. But you can serve, you can give people healing, and you can help, you can feed them and they're good for a day. You can heal them and they're good for a year. But if you give them spiritual teaching as well, that goes on to the next life. It's just me talking. This is not from the.
Oh, yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, wisdom really, because wisdom raises consciousness. That's a great way to raise consciousness. Reading a spiritual text is, you can read it once and you're one person, and you can read it again. You're a different person later because all the time your consciousness is raising. So rereading spiritual texts, you read the Bhagavad Gita or the Bible or if you study if you go down one road far enough, you'll get to the end. If you just sit there doing pranayama, you'll get to the end. All these things are so powerful. If you just do mantra, if you just do service, if you row strong enough in one boat, you'll get across the lake, so.
Well, yeah. Because what's kind of opened my eyes is being open to the universe giving you messages in terms of synchronicities. I mean, do you believe in that?
Yeah. I had it when I first came to the society. I woke up every night at 3:33. And that's weird. I Googled it on YouTube and it says, look for synchronicities in your daytime because, so, yeah.
A weird one happened to me, just because it's a musical one, so I relate it. I was on holiday in Suffolk, where we go quite a lot. Small village called
where I'm from.
Is it? Well, we go to a place called Kessingland. Kessingland. It's not far from Lowestoft.
I'm near Bury St Edmunds, so a bit more.
Yeah. This is on the coast. There's a little village called Kessingland, not very big. And I don't know, I was listening to Radio 6, Stephen Mack, and he played, while I was listening to it, he played one of our songs, The Pocket Gods. It was called Perfect Blue Sky Outside, which is what the song was written about. But that's not the weird bit. The weird bit was, there was a caller right after that track was played, and he said, "Oh, you really like that track?" And there was some guy called Gary or something from Kessingland. So, and I was actually in Kessingland. It wasn't me, but someone else from Kessingland had phoned in right after that song. That was just so weird. It was like, blew my mind. I let Steve Lamacq know as well. He thought it was funny. There's little things like that, you know, I guess the rational part of you could think, oh, it's just coincidence, but it's like, no.
There's no such thing. No.
I don't know. So I'm always looking for different synchronicities, I think.
So what are you doing there? So maybe you could explain to the audience about your movie and what you're doing with your podcast and...
Yeah, well, we do a couple of things, but the movie God versus Aliens has come out exploring, you know, UFOs in the Bible, and then what the impacts are if society found out that we were not alone. Would it be beneficial? Would it be a fearful thing? That's different. So we interviewed different people on that. So that's out now. It's coming on to Amazon Prime very soon and other streaming services. But we also do a TV show called Nub, N-U-B TV, which goes out on channel 186 on Sky on Tuesday nights, 9:00, where we mix basically music with UFOs and the paranormal. So we play a couple of new music videos, usually something cool and uplifting. And then there's me and my co-presenter Guy, and we just chat about various themes, topics each episode, and have guests on talking about things. So last episode we had Avi Loeb, professor from Harvard.
I'm trying to get him too, yeah.
Yeah, he's very good, so I'm sure he'd be amenable.
Right.
And he's a great guy, and we love him to bits. And he's very much, you know, he thinks there's extraterrestrial life out there. You know, he's unsure whether we have been visited, but he's willing to go and put the hard miles in and go and find the evidence.
I love him. I love it.
Yeah, treat it very seriously. You'd go, you know, because a lot of scientists criticize him, think, oh, it's not proper science. He goes, it is. I'm in a laboratory. I'm testing these things to see where they come from. This is science. And then I'll produce a picture and it can be reviewed.
He went to the bottom of the ocean, didn't he? He was dredging for meteorites.
He talks about that, absolutely, looking for these spherules that have come from out of our solar system, which is proven they are interstellar of origin, but he can't quite prove that they're manufactured, which is what he was trying to do. He's thinking, well, maybe they're sort of manufactured craft. But, you know, he's an amazing chap. So he's one of the guests we got on, and we got other alleged UFO contactee. Then we got an episode on Bigfoot and other various things. It's an interesting show, and it's just doing what we like, really. It's not, we fund it all ourselves. We do stuff at Nub, at Pocket Gods, because we enjoy doing it. That's our motto. If it's not fun, don't do it. And that's how we do it. If you're not putting good vibes into the world, we're not doing it.
Yeah, that's the spirit. And that comes across with the end result, no?
Yeah, no, thank you. So that's our mission, I guess. So hopefully it'll keep going.
Yeah. Well, where people can see the movie, I'll put a link in the show notes. And it's coming on Amazon Prime and Tubi in America. And what was your conclusion from the movie then? Because you had all the different guests, do you tie it together with a conclusion, or?
Oh yeah, I think at the end of it, at the beginning of it, I was thinking, yeah, it's all possibly coming from distant planets, probably craft visiting us. But now I think there's more to it than that. I think it's some sort of spiritual, psychic element to it. It's not just about nuts and bolts and mechanics. You know, because of the huge distances involved, I think, you know, they're likely to be here. This phenomenon is likely to be explained by presences that are already here. I don't pretend to have all the answers, and I'm on a quest. My next film will continue this quest. But I just want to get people talking about it. It's a serious subject. There's some serious people giving it a lot of credibility. It's not just, you know, tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists anymore. And I'm very much interested to learn more about the Aetherius Society. Maybe they would allow me to come down and film. That would be...
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. Richard Lawrence gives a great interview. Yeah, yeah.
So that would be good. We'll take a small crew down. That'd be really good.
Oh, brilliant.
So I would definitely be up for that.
Yeah.
I just feel a bit quite renewed to do more music because of the 30-second song campaign. I enjoyed it, but now it's kind of, I can't do it anymore. It took too much. And so I'm just finishing an album at the moment called Songs for Disclosure. We Are Not Alone. And I've got some UFO.
Combining your passions, I understand.
Yeah, and I've got some UFO people like Jeremy Corbell is on it, and various others. People that I know, Travis Walton. Because there's a very good, I don't know if you heard of it, it's a very good show on Talk TV called The Unexplained by Howard Hughes. It's on Talk TV, so don't let that put you off, but it's a great show. It's on Sunday evenings at 10 o'clock. He's a great guy. I've known him a long time. There's a lot of interesting things on there.
No, I'm not looking for one. Dave Davies is in the Aetherius Society as well from the Kinks.
Is he?
He's been in right from back in the day.
Right, this is a weird synchronicity.
There we go.
Right, okay, I'll just play you something that I was playing this morning. It comes through. Okay. I'll play it now until it comes through.
It's a bit garbled, yeah.
Okay, that is Dave Davis. Okay, I've done a track with Dave Davis. Okay.
Seriously?
I did it quite a few years ago. And I never released it.
That's a major synchronicity.
I'm doing this new album and I was thinking, yeah, I've got to put it on.
That's we just had a lot on air synchronicity.
That's great.
That's great, eh? Wow. I didn't think why I think to mention it, but then thought obviously music, he's in the Aetherius Society. They were in it. He was sitting in a bar with Richard Lawrence not long after John Lennon died, and then a song came through from John Lennon through Richard, and Dave Davies recorded it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know he's quite a spiritual guy. I didn't know he was a member of the Aetherius Society.
Yeah, he's our one celebrity member.
Okay. Maybe.
Yeah, you have to mention it to him. Yeah. Definitely. Go down to. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Because I found a society when I was in India, and I was having a bit of a spiritual awakening. So it's quite weird for me to be in India.
Yeah.
You think you're going to meet someone like Sadhguru, a nice guy in robes, but then it's Dr. King from England, from England in the 1950s who did yoga.
Yeah.
But
it's quite radical at a time, I guess.
Yeah. And the thing that got me, that answered a lot of questions for me was like the multiverse idea,
Yeah.
Because all this talk about them coming from, billions of light years away and they need space portals. Or they're right here, they're on all the other planets. All the other planets are packed.
Right, yeah.
It's like just a different frequency. It's like Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency and vibration. So they're all, all the other planets, what are they there for? I mean, they're packed with people, but it's just like, it's the electromagnetic spectrum, everything is, you have to be on that frequency for this to be physical, for this to work. If you just change it's like when we die, it explains ghosts as well, because when we die, we don't go anywhere. We're right here, but we just lose this shell. We use one of our bodies like a snake losing its skin or something, and we just vibrate at a different frequency. So on the other realms, there's a good movie called Astral City. It's from a Brazilian. The spiritualists are very big in Brazil, and they made a movie from one of their teachers, and it's there's cars, there's cities.
Well,
we just got collective amnesia because we don't go see these other realms. So
yeah, I mean that's kind of what John Keel was alluding to a little bit in the 50s, and just because he was collecting all the evidence, all the UFO contact reports, and just analyzing them basically. We think, they're not from other worlds; they're already here, but we can't perceive them most of the time.
I wonder if Men in Black, the movie, is true, if it's like that. But
yeah, possibly.
Because I've heard from other people there's like 70 different body types or something that they've
the Men in Black could be basically all right. Yeah, I mean there have been people that said that they were extraterrestrials.
I think our solar system, all the people in our solar system have this frame, this body, this arms and legs, and
which is why
But I think from other worlds you get the crazy ones, all the other. But that's not in the teachings. I don't know anything about that. So
because what I find interesting though, just on a couple of cases I've looked at recently and interviewed people, there's the Pascagoula case. I don't know if you heard about that, Calvin Parker in Mississippi in America. This is 1975, I think it was. And these are just a couple of guys out fishing, manual workers, just taking some time off fishing. And they, credibly claim they got abducted. But the beings are very strange. They were humanoid, but they had like crab-like pincers. And they didn't look like the grays that people normally experience. But there was a psychic element to the experience, but physically they were harmed a little bit. And what gives credence to this case is that they weren't just making it up. The sheriff they reported it to had a tape recorder, recorded them secretly whilst he was out of the room, see if they were having a laugh or making it up. And they weren't. They were saying they were literally frightened and something crazy had happened to them. Jeez. Someone I know has just written a book, Philip Mantle, about it. And it's just weird because people are perceiving different beings is what I'm trying to come to.
Yeah.
I wonder what causes that, whether it's using things in their brain to, I don't know, access the images. I'm not saying they're not real. I'm just saying the actual creatures they encountered, why did they take on the appearance they do?
Really, I mean, as I've got more into because the teachings of the society are very, they're all from the, Mars, Venus. They're like our brothers, basically. So they're protecting us.
Yeah.
But from all the other stories from other, the universe is packed, and also the lower astral realms. And what about this stuff with Michael Greer and the, the retrofitting of this, if the deep state has in America has developed its own, if they, Roswell and if they have some of these abductions could be from those guys, or it could be from the lower astral realms. I'm also pretty clueless about that, so I don't. But there must be. One thing I learned when I was starting out is that is just to forget everything I knew before and accept, because God, aliens, walking on water, spaceships, demons, vampires, whatever. I mean, if it's in folklore, and it keeps coming back in folklore, mermaids, people keep seeing them. You can't really argue with, because people only believe in what, how difficult people are to convince about so many things. But there's been just so many UFO sightings, so many ghost sightings, so many. It's just such, NDEs. That's evidence, man. I mean that.
Yeah, I think so too. And I've spoken with a lady called Evelyn Hollow. She's a quantum physicist, but also parapsychologist. So she investigates paranormal stuff. And she thinks that quantum physics can explain paranormal phenomena, which is interesting. But then I think quantum physics
they're bringing it down. They're just trying to.
It's paranormal, to be honest.
They just want to say they have everything under control. They just want to.
There's a model for it.
There's a model for it.
But the model they've got can't explain these things. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I have a science degree as well. So, but the model we have, trying to drill down into the universe, work it all out, doesn't work. That's the thing. It works some of the time. But even Einstein knew that. So.
Well, the problem isn't science. We all need to worship in the Church of Science, but just the walls are too small. They just because Newton. Just because Einstein didn't disprove everything of Newton, it doesn't disprove. It's just not got a big enough.
Yeah,
these guys like A.V. Loeb are just because it's like science fiction is only 20 years ahead, isn't it? The stuff in the movies is always you always laugh at the old science fiction movies because they're winding the handle in the spaceship and whatever, just because. And that's why the teachings of Jesus in the first time around 2,000 years ago didn't have a cosmic element, because just people couldn't
No.
They just they got wheels a week ago.
Yeah,
They can't imagine, life. So all this drip feeding of, it's like in the Theosophical Society and Madame Blavatsky and all those, the spiritualists, people doing seances. If we had a podcast 100 years ago, we wouldn't be talking about UFOs. We'd be talking about seances. That was the thing that the masters were trying to drip feed then, because to convince the masses, you just need these. And now they're doing masses of UFO sightings. It's just to gradually build up consciousness.
I like that.
Yeah. And also it's also the karmic element. Like some things, they're not just driving around up there, but they're also one interesting aside about what they're doing is because the sightings, they went up when we probed the atom, in the Oppenheimer and that. It's when we started to do nuclear experimentation. It has all these. It's not that we're a threat to them; it's that we're a threat to the planet and ourselves. Because when you detonate, it affects all the other realms on Earth. You mutate all your bodies, and you're a threat to the Earth as well. So there's all this radiation building up, and it causes earthquakes and all sorts of damage. So what they can do, because of karmic law, they can't just come in and fix things. That will be like landing in Central Park and saying, okay, that'll be like doing your kids' homework for you. But they can take some of this radiation, and because there's only one energy, it just different frequencies. They can use that as rocket fuel, basically, or fuel for their crafts. So they're taking it out of they're mining it, but for our benefit, because it's an involved process for them. They don't need to do that. But karmically, there's all sorts of checks and balances you have to do any sort of intervention.
Well, interesting.
Yeah, and that's also karma, is because when all the great religions came, that they can't just come down and teach us. They have to incarnate through the womb of a woman. So that's the Star of Bethlehem. That's Jesus. He incarnated in Earth. Sri Krishna, the Buddha, all the great religions. They came with teaching and to perform a special mission, but they had to take on karma. So they had to be born with a memory blanked, but they were supermen. They're supermen. They raised Kundalini and they became enlightened, and then cosmic consciousness, and then Jesus ascended, and but they had to go through this process because we have such bad karma. You can't come. It's like for you to go down into the pigsty and live as a pig, forget all your memory, forget everything, and then raise all the consciousness of pigs. That's what it's like trying to do, except it's a lot more extreme than that because they're so much more evolved than us.
Okay. So yeah, absolutely. I guess we've got a lot to look forward to then.
Well, yeah, this book sums it up, the 9 freedoms. So it's the first freedoms are bravery, love, and service.
Freedoms, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you do bravery, love, and service. Those are the 3 things that will get you on the path.
Yeah.
And then enlightenment, cosmic consciousness, and then ascension. And that's when you raise the Kundalini all the way up. So it's not that you become a Buddha and it's game over, back to God. You've got to go through. You've got to become a planet, a sun, a galaxy. You've got millions of lives still to go, because that's we think we're the king of the castle, but and then after that it's interplanetary existence within this classroom of the solar system, different planets, Saturnian existence, and then life on the sun, and then you go on to other experiences, but that's just way beyond our comprehension. So,
yeah,
but goes a lot further than Buddhism or anything like that, just because now some of us are ready to listen to that. If you told them 2,000 years ago, it would be a bit much, no?
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot to take in.
Yeah, I will read that book down the line.
Yeah. And if you'd like to have Richard on your show, I'd really love to come and chat to you.
Yeah, that would be really good, actually.
Yeah, just doing all sorts of he's been on Coast to Coast Radio, the big one in America, loads of times, and yeah, he's been a psychic on the radio. He can also tell you he did psychic phone-ins for years on talk radio and things like that. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, he's a very respected man, and he gives a great interview.
Okay, I'll look forward to that. Yeah, so your pod songs as well. Sort that out for me. That'd be good.
Yeah, who would you like to interview?
Dave Davis.
Oh yeah, no other musicians. You say I don't allow that.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, let me think then.
Got to be someone. You can keep with the UFO angle. I mean, you're rowing that boat, so keep.
Yeah, that's good. Let me think. Yeah, okay.
All right, mate. Well, unless there's anything else you want to.
No, I think that's it. Really enjoyed that, and we had that mad synchronicity on there, so that was good.
Yeah, that's gold. I have to cut that out into a snippet and on social media.
I like that. Please do. Yeah, that'd be excellent.
All right, mate. Well, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.